What's up, everybody? This your boy, Big Waves in the building, man. Y'all already know what time it is, man. And welcome to Life is Just a Wave podcast. Y'all already know who I be, man. I be the Silver Surfer, man. You know what I'm saying? The Wave Runner. You know what I mean? The Beach Bum, whatever you want to call me, man. And appreciate y'all for coming in and support the channel, man. And I know what y'all talking about. Waves, you ain't dropped nothing in the minute. Look, I know. But it's coming. You get what I'm saying? I got a lot of vlog series that we about to be dropping on the way. Life of a Wave Runner is on its way, dropping in the spring of this year. That's going to be the major of the content. Now that the Carolina Panthers have been officially eliminated, man, we're about to start jumping into letting y'all come into the life of the big wave, man. Hopefully y'all won't drown, man, watching this, but we'll see. We'll see what's up. But today, we're here to talk about what the Carolina Panthers can do to win the off season. What can they do? Or better yet, what should they do? We all know that the Carolina Panthers had a disappointing year this season. A lot of stuff that happened, from the very beginning all the way till now. We can even start from the very beginning. Trading for Baker Mayfield. I think that's the best place to start with the 2022 season. That was a very questionable call, right? Granted, I think Carolina missed out on the big fish. They tried to go and get a Deshaun Watson. David Tepper that's who he wanted to get, but ultimately wanted to be cheap, right? Didn't want to guarantee Watson's contract like he wanted. And, you were pretty much left with what was left, which was pretty much scraps. You traded for Baker Mayfield. That experiment led you to a 1-5 start, ultimately leading to the head coach at the time, Matt Rule, being let go. From there, Robbie Anderson got released right after that. Once Steve Wilks took over as the interim head coach, got into it on the sideline with a position coach, and Steve Wilks got him out of there. Steve Wilks, that was the first really thing that kind of like put his stamp on the type of coach that he wanted to be for this locker room. Traded him to the Arizona Cardinals. Then shortly after, we traded Christian McCaffrey to the San Francisco 49ers for 2 second rounders, 2 third rounders, or maybe a third and a couple fourths or something like that. So we got a haul of picks for Christian McCaffrey that will definitely help us out headed into the future. Now, that move, granted, it was one that probably was going to happen no matter what, if Rule would have stayed on or not, considering his contract, man, and his injury history. And considering that we're not a team that was, just a running back away from being a contender. Then from there, Steve Wilks' tenure has pretty much been up and down. We had a lot of controversy at quarterback. Baker Mayfield gets hurt. PJ Walker starts. PJ does what a 4th-string quarterback does, kind of just manages the game. Won some pretty good games, lost some critical games, got blown out in some games as well. Then after that, we talk about, just the team overall, right? Granted, the division set it up for us to still have an opportunity to go out and win the division because everybody was so bad in the actual division. One thing that I will commend Steve Wilks on is that he created an identity for this football team this season. If you're asking me, what is the biggest thing that he was able to accomplish this year? I think that that's absolutely it. He was able to create an identity for this football team. And that's important because that's what a team needs. Now, granted, is that identity a one that can create you long-term success and get you far in the postseason? I don't think it is. But I think it's for a team that was at the bottom of the map. It at least gave them some sense of hope and sense of pride. Ultimately, we did not finish where we wanted to be here, but all hope is not lost for Carolina Panther fans. Here is my take on exactly how do we get back to glory? How do we get back to those 2015 days? How do we get back into the win column, man, and having something to cheer for and be excited for every single year? Well, let's jump into it. The first thing you have to do with this all-season agenda, you have to find your head coach. Now, I know a lot of people have been rallying for Steve Wilks to take over the head coach job, but I'm not so sure. And maybe even by the time this video comes out, the Panthers will already made a decision to bring Steve Wilks back or hire another coach. But ultimately, that's going to be the first thing that we're going to have to do. And this is going to be probably one of the most crucial decisions that David Tepper can make going forward. And I understand what people are saying about the locker room and, how they're supporting Steve Wilks. But ultimately, you have to understand something. David Tepper has had 4 losing seasons since he's taken over as owner of the Carolina Panthers. This next head coach has to be one that we hit on. This has to be one that we really make the right decision on. We cannot afford to go through or waste any more years on, you know, lame duck head coaches. So I don't mind David Tepper doing his due diligence, his research on more proven commodities at the head coaching position, simply because so much is riding on this next decision. And as far as his credibility as an owner as well, the Panthers have been a losing team now for over half of a decade. We've had 5 straight losing seasons, at the conclusion of this one. And this is going to be probably the most important decision that is going to be made, is who's going to lead this team into the future, especially while we have so many young stars on the defensive side of the ball on rookie contracts. We need to take advantage of where we are as a team right now. We need to be able to take advantage of where the NFC South is right now. The NFC South is down. Don't know if Tom Brady will retire or if he's going to come back to Tampa Bay or ultimately end up somewhere else. I would probably choose the latter. But at the same time, the New Orleans Saints are rebuilding. The Atlanta Falcons are a young team, and they are rebuilding as well. This is a great opportunity for the Panthers to make a splash at head coach and bring in somebody that's going to be able to lead this team into the future and develop a potentially young quarterback, and bring some creative offense to this team. The next thing I would say is going to be on the market. Well, we have free agency. There's a lot of holes on this team that need to be filled. Some holes that stand out, obviously, is defensive end opposite of Brian Burns. There's going to be a lot of interesting people that are going to be free agents at that position that the Panthers should definitely give a call. You can't be cheap. If you want to win championships, you have to spend the money in order to bring the guys in that can give you that elite talent to play. Jadeveon Clowney is one that rings a lot of bell. He's from the Carolina area. Things seem to have spoiled there for him in Cleveland. Pairing him up with Brian Burns, you might have a really decent pass rush, and that's something that the Panthers need, is to have pass rush opposite of Brian Burns. Another position that potentially could be filled in free agency is the tight end position. The Panthers have not had an elite tight end play since Greg Olsen retired. And that's something that has to change, especially if you're going to draft a young quarterback. You need to be able to give him a big, reliable target, one that can beat one-on-one matchups against those linebackers in the middle of the field, and be a check down for a young quarterback that's going to be developing and going up. So there's going to be a lot of different people that are on the market. Your TJ Hawkinsons, your Mike Gesicki's. There's going to be a lot of options in the tight end free agent pool for the Panthers to address this position. That may be something that they want to take a look at. Also, running back is another position that the Panthers may want to look to try to fill in the free agency pool. Granted, Deontay Foreman has had a pretty good season with the Panthers, but I do not think he's an every down back. He has no pass catching ability whatsoever. Chuba Hubbard had a pretty solid season in the opportunities that he was given, but I think you need to bring in a shifty running back, maybe even consider a Tony Pollard. I think that he would be a great 1-2 punch. If you do sign Deontay Foreman, you can bring him back on a 1-year deal, but I think he's more of a complimentary piece as opposed to an every down back. And then another position that I would say also in free agency that the Panthers definitely want to try to fill is help at corner. Granted, Dante Jackson has been hurt, and J.C. Horn has been hurt as well. But we have some big depth issues underneath those guys, because it's probably guaranteed at this point that these guys are going to miss some time in the seasons. Why not bring in some veteran corner help, man, to add depth to that secondary room? I've said it all along. The Panthers should have kept Stephon Gilmore. I think that would have been incredible. I think it would allow veteranship to help develop some of these young guys, and it also would have provided depth there. You bought in Josh Norman, but he's 35 years old. The Panthers need to try to bring in a cornerback, man, that can be opposite of J.C. Horn, and be there as a solidified backup in case these guys are going to go down. I know it's a little premature to say, but we have to watch out for J.C. Horn, man, and his injury history. It's been concerning. I have every faith in the world that he can remain healthy, but we know the NFL, you're only as good as your availability. So free agency is definitely going to be critical for the Panthers this year to fill in some of those holes that we have on the team, the holes that we cannot address in the draft. And then the next process of this is obviously going to be the scouting combine, pro days, putting together draft boards. This draft is probably going to be one of the most important drafts in Carolina Panthers history. After the season has concluded as of yesterday, and from this point, the Panthers have locked in with the number 9 pick in the draft. And I know what some of you guys probably saying. We end up with number 8 and or 9 or 7, somewhere around that range for the past 5 years. It seemed like we followed in that 7, 8, or 9 range when it comes to draft picks. Some we've hit on, some have still we're still waiting to see. But overall, this is an opportunity for the Panthers to go and get their quarterback. They need to do their due diligence on all these quarterbacks that are going to be coming out. We already know that Bryce Young and CJ Stroud are going to be the prized possessions of this upcoming draft. But are the Panthers at a position now, because of the late season wins, to get one of those guys? So we may be in a position where we have to settle for a Anthony Richardson or Will Levis. By the way, I'm not sold on any of those guys, just to let you all know. But we may be in a situation where we have to do it. So critical scouting for our scouts. This is going to be a huge year for scouts, man, trying to figure out who's going to be the quarterback of the future for the Carolina Panthers. Are they going to make the right decisions? In my opinion, the Panthers should try to trade up. Right now, the Chicago Bears have the number 1 overall pick. They should be on, Scott Fitterer should be on the phone with Ryan Poles right now, trying to see if he can, what it's going to take to trade for that number 1 overall pick to draft either CJ Stroud or Bryce Young. I think it's a huge drop off after those guys when you're talking about talent coming out of this draft. I know the Anthony Richardson potential and the Will Levis's potential and the Max Duggins and et cetera. But again, we've wasted a lot of time on potential. And I think now we need to spend time on who's proven, who's going to give us the best opportunity right away, who's going to be able to produce right now. So that's going to be critical with the first round. You have 2 second-round picks. Now, granted, if you are not able to get one of those guys, there's nothing wrong with trading back as well. Maybe you trade that number 9 overall pick for a bevy of second or third round picks or something like that, or later in the first round to get additional picks in the draft. Listen, the Panthers need a lot of things right now. So to be able to move into this, whoever the new coach is, maybe that's an option. Maybe take best player available. I don't know. But one thing is for sure, that you have to get a quarterback in this draft. Everything else is not going to be important unless you get your guy. So the Panthers need to be able to draft a quarterback with their first overall pick in the draft. Again, trade up, whatever you got to do, you got to get your quarterback this year. And then with the rest of the picks, potentially fill in, again, add some youth, continue to add to that offensive line, continue to add to the defensive line. We need to draft a linebacker. I know a lot of my drafts right now have us taking Penei Sewell's brother, Noah Sewell, at linebacker at the number 9 spot. Granted, I mean, he's a pretty good player. Do I think he's the Luke Kuechly type player? I don't, but maybe we're in a situation where we have no choice. But those things are going to be critical to the Panthers all season, and then ultimately creating the right scheme. We need an offensive coordinator that's going to be able to come in here and create a scheme that plays to this team's strengths to develop a young quarterback. All of that is going to be important going forward in order for us to take the step as an organization. So this has been my plan. I think that it's a very black and white plan. I don't think that we should deviate from this. I think that this is something that's going to allow us to gain success in the future. All of the contending franchises right now, this is the plans that they have followed. So I want to know what you guys think about it, though. Is this the right method to take? Or do you guys see the Panthers having different type of plans for this offseason? Whatever the plans is, one thing is for sure, that we all want this football team to win. We all want this team to move forward. I think we're all tired of losing, and David Tepper has to get it right. But again, this has been your boy Big Waves. If you're new to the channel, make sure that you like and subscribe. We're on that road to 400 subscribers, man. We're pushing it, man. I think right now we're only about 45 away. Y'all make sure to like and subscribe and run it up, man. Y'all know y'all can also catch me over there on my sister podcast, Between the Lines, man, where we're always keeping your ass in line with the new information. We got a lot of stuff going up, exciting over there as well. And again, Life of a Wave Runner vlog series will be dropping this spring. Y'all don't want to miss that as well. I'm still going to be doing some lives and stuff right here, but I've been spending a lot of attention building up Between the Lines podcast. And again, if you haven't liked and subscribed to that channel, make sure you do so. But again, this is your boy Big Waves. Y'all already know what time it is. Life is just a wave, baby. Everybody have a good one. Peace.